Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Priya Wali. I am teacher training student at Rehan School Lahore campus and welcome. Today we will be discussing how to master the art of negotiation in daily life. Negotiation is an important life skills that help us solve problems, build stronger relationships and reach fair agreements whether at work, school, home, or in a business. Effective negotiation is about listening, understanding different perceptions, and finding solutions that benefits everyone. Let's explore how we can improve our negotiation skill in everyday life. Assalamu alaikum, Maya.
It's good to have you back.
So my topic is how to master the art of negotiation in daily life. What is negotiation?
Oh, I love. At its simplest, negotiation is just a conversation with a goal. A process where two or more people try to reach an agreement, usually when they have different starting points. It's not always about winning or losing, it's more about finding a way to move forward that works for everyone involved.
Why is negotiation an important life skill?
They really are. It's one of those things that pops up everywhere, from deciding where to eat dinner to asking for a raise. And when you get it right, it doesn't just get you what you want, it actually makes the other person feel good about the deal too.
Where do we use negotiation in our daily lives?
Honestly, everywhere if you look for it. You use it at home when you're figuring out chores or bedtime with family, at work when you're discussing deadlines with a boss, and even at the store if you're haggling over a price. It's essentially anytime you're trying to align your needs with someone else's. Do any of those feel like the trickiest ones for you?
What makes a good negotiator?
A great negotiator isn't actually the loudest person in the room. It's more about a specific set of traits. First, there's active listening, being able to hear what the then you have empathy, which lets you understand their why so you can find a solution that actually fits. And finally, there's patience and negotiation usually stops being productive. It's really a blend of being a detective and a diplomat at the same time.
Why is achieve listening important during negotiator?
I think you mean active listening, and it's honestly the spin of the whole process. If you're just waiting for your turn to speak, you're missing the clue is dropping. Active listening lets you catch the small details, the hesitation in their voice, or a specific concern they keep mentioning that tell you exactly what they actually value. When people feel truly heard, they drop their guard. And that's usually when the real breakthroughs happen.
How can clear communication improve negotiations?
It removes the guesswork. When you're clear and direct, you stop the other person from filling in the gaps with their own assumptions, which is usually where misunderstandings start. It also shows confidence when you can state your needs simply and without apology. It signals that you know your value, but you're still open to a fair deal. Plus, it prevents that awkward.
What is the difference between negotiations and argument?
The biggest difference is the destination. An argument is usually about being right or proving the other person wrong. It's like a tug of war where someone has to. Negotiation, on the other hand, is about getting to a solution. It's more like a puzzle you're solving together. In an argument, you're fighting. you're fighting the problem together.
What should we do if an argument cannot be reached?
When you hit a total deadlock, the best move is usually to take a breather. If you keep pushing when neither side is budging, you're just moving toward an argument. Stepping away or to rethink your must haves versus your nice to haves. Sometimes just changing the environment or coming back to it the next day makes the solution obvious. Do you find it hard to walk away when you're in the middle of a tough conversation?
How can negotiation help resolve family conflicts?
Family is where the stakes feel the highest because there's so much history involved. Negotiation helps by shifting the focus from who is right to what do we actually need to be happy. Instead of fighting over a specific chore or a holiday plan, start asking questions to find the underlying emotion. Like if a parent is nagging about the dishes, they might actually just be feeling overwhelmed and unappreciated. Once you negotiate based on that feeling rather than you're solving the actual conflict instead of just the symptom.
What advice would you give to someone who is afraid to negotiate?
First, remember that the worst thing that can happen is usually just a no. And a no isn't a failure, it's just a piece of information. I'd tell them to start small. Don't make your first negotiation a huge salary jump. Try negotiating something low stakes, like which movie to watch or a small discount at a flea market, just to get used to the feeling of asking. The more you do it, the more you realize that most people are actually open to a conversation if you're respectful. Plus, focusing on the other person's needs instead of your own fear takes the pressure off you and puts it on the problem. Does that make the
What negotiation skills would you like to improve?
That's a great question. Since I don't have a boss to ask for a raise or a landlord to haggle with, I'm mostly focused on the art of the nuanced pivot. I'd love to get even better at spotting those tiny unspoken cues in a conversation. The kind of subtle shift in tone that tells me exactly when to push a bit more and when to pull back and listen. It's that fine line between being persuasive and being pushy. And mastering that balance is where the real magic happens. What about you? Is there a specific area of negotiation you're looking to level up in?
How can practice improve negotiation skills?
Turns a scary process into a habit. When you practice, you start to recognize patterns. You realize that the same few objections come up over and over again, and you stop reacting emotionally to them. Instead of panicking when someone says that's too expensive or I can't do that, you start seeing it as a signal to ask a different question. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more natural it feels to stay calm and creative when the pressure's on. Do you think you'd prefer practicing with a friend or just diving in with real world situations?
So, my last question is, what is the biggest lesson you have learned about negotiation?
The biggest lesson is that the most successful negotiations aren't about winning, they're about building a bridge. If you win by making the other person feel defeated or cheated, you've actually lost in the long run because you've damaged the relationship. The real win is when both people walk away feeling like they got a fair deal and actually respect each other more because of the process. It turns a transaction into a connection.
Thank you everyone for joining today's discussion on how to master the art of negotiation in daily life. I hope today's conversation has given you practical ideas for becoming a better communicator and negotiator. Remember, successful negotiation is not about winning at any cost. It's about understanding others, building trust, and creating solutions that benefits everyone. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in our next discussion. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.
Thank you for such a thoughtful session. It was a pleasure thinking through this with you. I love how you always wrap these discussions with such a positive